Hey, Orchard Archivers. In this week's trek here on the Caramel Apples podcast, will be an especially sweet treat to dive into, where we'll be talking about some of our favorite 80s breakfast cereals. The, the 80s were no doubt a most nostalgic era of delicious breakfast cereals, and there's practically a cereal to suit every single taste. A lot of these deliciously familiar, ready to eat cereals have been and still are being purchased year after year.
Can we say Amazon Prime? And children consumed about well over half of the cereal consumed here in the States. A good bit of them were licensed by video games, popular toys, shows, cartoons, and movies.
Oh, very true. Of course, many of our childhood cereal favorites have disappeared and are now banished to our memories due to our ever-changing pop culture. Join us this week for some very familiar entries that are guaranteed to whet your appetite and give you that retro sugar rush that was a delicious part of this complete breakfast.
The marketing industry's ability to cash in on this success was contingent on a couple of different things.
Okay.
One was in the persuading of the parental units, in particular the moms, of the nutritional value baked into the far out names and clever advertising directly on their packaging, as well as in their commercials. And for the easier part of this strategy was in two, convincing the kids themselves by bombarding us mainly during the prime time of our television viewing. Like on afternoons right after school and during Saturday morning cartoons and such.
Uh-huh.
To literally beg for these cereals so that we could acquire the superpowers or noble qualities of our favorite characters and mascots.
Oh, wow. Did we ever beg?
Yes.
Mercilessly beg for that sugary experience. It didn't really work for the most part.
You do realize that you just said sugary experience, right?
Right?
No wonder Mom was like, no, thank you.
She was quite the buzzkill.
She was. She's like, not in my house. But you're so right. A lot of these cereals we practically begged our mom to get.
In vain.
But no, she'd always be getting those boring healthy cereals.
Buzzkill.
Like you said, we were rarely successful in convincing her to get us any of these fun cereals.
Yeah. We as children back in the 80s were spoiled by the plethora of sugary cereal goodness that would never make it onto store shelves today. But by today's more health conscious standards, it really is hard to believe that many of our favorite cereal memories ever existed. Mm-hmm. But exist they did in all of their sugary glory and goodness.
Dennis must have made a killing in the 80s.
No doubt.
Which was definitely what Mom was thinking when she bought Cheerios versus Cap'n Crunch.
Buzzkill. Speaking of which, as far as sheer sugary taste and goodness go, that part in liking so many of our, throwback cereals were a no-brainer for us. Mm-hmm. But it does come with a caveat. You have to eat your cereal quickly. There is nothing worse, absolutely nothing worse than soggy cereal. Ugh. Oh, I know, yuck.
Double yuck.
Triple yuck. Now, we briefly mentioned how we'd relentlessly beg for a fun cereal. Usually the answer was no, but on occasion she would get us post Super Sugar Crisp which had the mascot Sugar Bear. And that later became, and what is still now known as Super Golden Crisp. Yes. Can't get enough of that Super Golden Crisp. It's got the crunch with punch.
You nailed it. Wow, I so remember that. This cereal was tasty.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd always get the cereal confused with Sugar Smacks, featuring Diggum Frog, which is now Honey Smacks currently. One thing I do remember is that one of them had a foil bag on the inside to seal in the fresh goodness.
Oh, I remember that too.
Mm-hmm.
Great memory of that, Coop. Good job.
Thanks.
You know, it's always so cool to recall some of the smaller details like that, in order to solidify the more nostalgic tidbits.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these entries, that of being Super Sugar Crisp and Sugar Smacks, were renamed due to marketers removing the word sugar from their product names.
Ah, clever.
Yeah, it actually kind of was. Now let's back up a second where we mentioned how the industry used a couple of strong lures to get both the kids on board of wanting their product and parents to want to buy it for their kids for the perceived numerous nutritional references in order to make that purchase something that would give them peace of mind.
Mm.
So this is a strong example of how powerful target-specific marketing does in the realm of advertising.
I agree. To say that this twofold approach had been uber successful in booming sales all these years would be quite the understatement.
Mm-hmm.
The various pop culture references and characters, huge at that time, allowed and encouraged manufacturers to promote the uniqueness of their products.
Okay, so now on the flip side, the funny part of this and what we just described is that the fact of the matter is that many a cereal lover are millions of adults, both then and now.
Facts. No milk for mine, please.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Just how many of us get a taste or hankering for one of our favorite old school choices to snack on occasionally?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's if you maybe still able to grab it. Cue up Amazon Prime again.
Again, since sweetened cereals were a rarity at our home growing up, more often than not, on the rare occasion, we got to effortlessly enjoy a bowl of sweet goodness when we were invited to a sleepover or a slumber party at one of our friends' house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blissful moment and quite the treat.
Oh boy, was it ever. Through memories, we briefly touched on a couple of these retro cereal choices already, but we love countdowns. So here's our countdown of 10 popular throwback sweet cereals we're excited to revisit this week on our Orchard Trek. Do you remember eating or begging for any of these?
Number 10, G.I. Joe Action Star Cereal.
G.I. Joe Action Star cereal was introduced by Ralston in 1985 and was responsible for a majority of the licensed character cereal market at that time, which we have included a couple more of these in our countdown this week. Ralston still makes Chex and Cookie Crisp, which are both delicious and still widely available today. But back to G.I. Joe Action Star cereal, these trending, popular type throwback cereals were quite pivotal in just about every 80 kid's life growing up. Very important. G.I. Joe Action Star cereal had a variation of box decorations featuring different key characters important to the franchise by displaying their action poses. They, of course, feature the eponymous characters Duke, Shipwreck, and Gung Ho. G.I. Joe, great American hero. G.I. Joe is it. Number 9, C-3PO cereal.
Wow. Check this out. Which breakfast cereal is responsible for possessing a most beloved out-of-this-world mascot. This throwback entry had the commercial tagline, "A crunchy new force at breakfast." Manufactured by Kellogg's, C3PO cereal consisted of honey sweetened oats and corn that looked like figure eights. Curious. Which also curiously tasted like alphabet cereal. So, fun fact. In the year 1984 is when Return of the Jedi was released, as well as when this throwback cereal entry came onto the scene. Unfortunately, its presence only held out for about a couple years. You could just imagine the sheer delight of hardcore fans, that's kid fans, everywhere when they had yet something else fun, valuable that connected to their Star Wars trilogy cache. And no, it's a very good part of this nutritious breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Number 8, E.T. cereal.
E.T. phone home. Okay, our previous entry wasn't the only cereal with the most beloved out-of-this-world mascot. So made by General Mills, E.T. cereal was a peanut butter and chocolate flavor, crispy sweetened 2-grain cereal in the shapes of little E's and T's. Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But which 2 grains? Would that be oats and corn, perhaps?
No.
Again, introduced onto the market in 1984, this provides further proof that everything big or huge at that time that had phenomenal reach and marketing potential would trend hard for kids by the way of video games, toys, novelty items, and memorable breakfast cereals.
Yeah.
E.T. came out and was a pop culture phenomenon in 1982, so the cereal coming out a couple years later was a huge nod to its being relatable and increasing connectivity with audiences everywhere. Maybe space even, I don't know. Sadly, this is yet another entry we did not get to enjoy at our home growing up. But we usually hit pay dirt when staying over at a friend's house for the weekend.
Yay!
What a treat. Number 7, Rainbow Brite.
1985 was a busy year for the company Ralston. For our second entry by them, also introduced that year, was the cereal Rainbow Brite. This cereal box and packaging just screams 80s. It was succinctly timed to come out at the same time as the feature film Rainbow Brite and the Star Stealer, which I do not even remember. Do you?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Shameful. Well, while the movie didn't ring a bell, we did happen to catch the cartoon here and there while it was on TV. Like some of our other cereal entries, the company went all out by putting a brief backstory about Rainbow Brite on the box. Who hail from no other than Rainbow Land. Rainbow Land. Wow, those imaginations were boundless when coming up with this stuff.
That's pretty deep there.
So, quick trivia question. What were the names of the 2 villains who taunt Rainbow Brite and her friends? And what was their realm called?
Oh, good question. I know this, but let me think. Okay, tell me.
Well, I do have the answers for
Okay.
you. Murky Dismal and Lurky.
Oh.
Yeah, let that sink in for a second. And they were from the pit. How fitting they hated every colorful and joyful and wanted to capture bright and squash all the color from the world.
Rotten sauce. Table for 2, please. Murky and Lurky Dismal.
Wow. Oh. Rainbow Brite believe a lot of our friends who had the privilege of eating this cereal, this choice, likened it mostly to Trix.
Oh.
The cereal was described as sweetened with natural fruit flavors, fortified with 9 essential vitamins and minerals. You know, you gotta add that last part to keep the parents, aka wallet holders, happy.
That's right.
New Rainbow Bright brand cereal. Sweet, fruity rainbows of bright color. Fruit flavored, colorful bites. Rainbow Bright. Number 6, Cabbage Patch Kids cereal.
Okay, much like the other entries so far in our breakfast cereal countdown this week, Cabbage Patch Kids cereal was the business. Again, made by Ralston, Cabbage Patch Kids brand cereal came out full steam ahead in the height of its popularity in 1985. Its draw was an eye-catcher for parents due to it being touted as a low-sugar option. Surprisingly, though, this one didn't reach our cupboards while growing up. And it was a low-sugar option. Well, the cereal held true to its claim with having only 3 grams per serving. The cereal actually looked like chubby little round happy faces that were roughly patterned off the actual Cabbage Patch dolls, which, by the way, were so stinking cute.
Yes, they were.
Coop and I breathed a collective sigh of relief when we were able to acquire our dolls. We were proud owners, patch mothers indeed. The promotional advertising for this new product featured the dolls, pictured in different positions, doing fun things and activities, much like G.I. Joe Action Star cereal we spoke of at the outset. As far as taste is concerned, though, some people like them, others not so much. But many a memory put these lightly sweet bites as reminiscent of honeycomb. Yeah, so I guess if you get a hankering for this throwback entry, your best bet is to go ahead and grab you a box of honeycomb. Problem solved.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. Now, back to the show.
Number 5, Pac-Man cereal.
What is synonymous with 80s anything? If you guessed Pac-Man, then my friends, you guessed correctly.
Yay!
Introduced back in 1983, this lovable entry was patterned off of the ever-familiar arcade game.
Ooh, yeah.
Manufactured by General Mills, Pac-Man cereal was a crunchy sweetened corn cereal shaped as little round pellets or dots, much like the power pellets found in the game, and marshmallows in the shapes of various other characters like the ghost Pac-Man chases. The cereal kind of reminds you of, or, gave the Kix cereal vibe.
Okay.
Kind of makes you wonder just how much companies recycled these similar based products over the years.
It is pretty curious.
Probably just change out the title and voila! You've got a new marketable cereal to stay relevant in the game. Pun intended.
Oh, that is horrible, Cooper. P.U.
My jokes are bad, I'm sorry.
Yes, they are.
Okay, you Orchard Arcade.
Orchard Arcades.
You Orchard Archivers, you avid 80s gamers. Quick trivia question for you here. Do you recall what the kids eating the cereal were called in the commercials?
Oh, that's another good question. No, go ahead, tell me.
Great, I got the answer for you.
Okay.
They were called Ghost Chompers.
Okay.
Of course, while preparing this week's research, typing the word chompers, autocorrect wasn't very happy.
Well.
They're like, what is that? But all in all, if you want to talk about the perfect Saturday morning experience, you grab a bowl of this while watching the Pac-Man cartoon. Good times, retro buffs.
Yeah, good times.
Number 4, Smurfberry Crunch cereal.
What can we say about Smurfberry Crunch cereal? It was only a matter of time before the Smurfs were granted their very own cereal.
They have arrived.
They have. Smurfberry Crunch is fun to eat, a Smurfy fruity breakfast treat. Man, those things just come right back to you, you know?
Yes, and you have to dance to it. I actually was just now.
That's right. You didn't see my arms moving? So this is our first and only 80s cereal entry this week by Post. 1983, this fruity sweetened corn, oat, and wheat cereal.
Okay.
It was a most popular choice for many due to the pop culture phenom of what Saturday morning cartoon titan the Smurfs became at that time. Yeah, it consisted of red and purple small round discs of goodness resembling berries. You know, it sounds pretty tasty.
It really does.
And in case you were wondering, no, our mom didn't buy these for us either.
Nope, she's like another helping of Raisin Bran.
Oh, gross. So this was yet another entry enjoyed at a buddy's place. Raisin Bran was at home. So continuing to market and cash in on Smurf's success, 4 years later in 1987, Post launched Magic Smurfberry cereal that had added marshmallows. Oh, how original. Who would have thought to add marshmallows to a cereal? Oh, brother. Number 3, Mr. T cereal.
This exciting entry isn't a surprise at all to the astute retro buff. As a matter of fact, this delicious breakfast choice delighted many a child and hardcore fan back in the day. Manufactured and promoted by Quaker, responsible for Quaker Oats, Mr. T was a cool throwback cereal that was oddly similar to Cap'n Crunch.
Cap'n Crunch again?
Another one? It was a crispy sweet corn and oat cereal fortified with B vitamins and iron. You gotta say this part like Mr. T would. That way the parents would get the message to not dare pass this one by in the cereal aisle.
Oh no.
The actual cereal was shaped into T's. Now that's thinking outside the box. Introduced in 1984, this was a hugely smart marketing play by Quaker because this popular cereal entry proved successful due to Mr. T being the face and most recognizable fixture in the hit TV series, The A-Team. He was also the rival opponent boxer in Rocky III, as well as still being hotly connected to the WrestleMania fame. It is said that Mr. T cereal had one of the highest amounts of sugar ever put in a cereal. Wow. We definitely weren't getting this one, were we?
Nope. Far from it.
So when you heard the catchphrase selling points directly from Mr. T himself, where he says, "Team up with Mr. T, it's cool." And including his ever infamous, "I pity the fool who don't eat my cereal."
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Hey, who in their right mind would dare to buy anything Mr. T says? I got one for you.
I know who it is.
Our mom.
Miss Buzzkill herself in the flesh. Sorry.
Number 2, strawberry shortcake cereal.
Okay, now this was our jam right here. Back in the early 80s, just about every young girl the world over knew and loved this iconic little ginger pie. Strawberry shortcake was everywhere. You know, you had the dolls, stickers, lunch boxes, and so on. She had a number of TV specials as well as her very own animated series. Well, it's of no surprise that in 1982, General Mills introduced strawberry shortcake cereal, which was artificial strawberry flavor frosted corn rounds that turned your milk into pink strawberry milk. It's very good. So the story of strawberry shortcake and friends was shared on the back of the box. It says, meet strawberry shortcake and all of her friends. They live in a very special place called Strawberry Land. All the kids enjoy a simple country life. They make delicious things to eat from all the good things they grow around them. Now, Strawberry Shortcake has her own strawberry flavored cereal. So, won't you join her for a bowl? As she would say, it's very good. This one being one of the few sweet cereals our mom would occasionally actually cave in to get for us. We'd have to highly agree that it was very, very good.
Delicious.
We were in for once. Yay!
Yay, party time!
So now that we're at our number one retro breakfast entry, let's do a quick recap of what we already enjoyed revisiting in this week's countdown. We had number 10, G.I. Joe Action Star cereal.
Number 9, C-3PO cereal.
Number 8, E.T. cereal.
Number 7, Rainbow Bright cereal.
Number 6, Cabbage Patch Kids cereal.
Number 5, Pac-Man cereal.
Number 4, Smurfberry Crunch.
Number 3, Mr. T cereal.
And number 2, Strawberry Shortcake cereal. And number 1, Gremlin cereal.
Released in 1984, the company Ralston released Gremlin cereal. It was thrilling to see that the lightly sweetened shapes of corn still looked like a bunch of little gizmos. Trust, just looking at a picture of a bowl of these sparked fond memories and entertained the idea that this was still 1984 and these buddies were good enough to eat.
Yep.
The gizmo-shaped cereal pieces were just as adorable as the actual Gizmo character.
He was cute.
He sure was. You couldn't hardly imagine anything cuter than he was.
Oh, facts. He was adorable.
It was. You know, and seeing milk in the commercials being poured onto cereal from a pitcher always seemed intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
This visual teaser just did something in making that cereal, any cereal, look that much more appetizing. Remember how you could actually send away for a plushie somewhere for a toy stuffed gizmo?
I do.
Which would come in an actual shoebox with poked holes in the top for the real effect and experience, or shall we say the experiment.
Open at your own risk. He's adorable.
He's cute, but he'll get ya. But I'm guessing folks could obtain one that was simply store-bought as well. You know, I don't recall any of our friends having or receiving that shoebox shipper extra touch. So that's probably what they did.
Big cheaters.
You mean they didn't want to wait to receive the shipping right there in about 6 to 8 weeks?
Oh, the horror.
Everybody knows kids don't wait.
No, they cheat.
That's why they made that available to them.
I guess. Bad habits.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose out on that money. Being retro movie buffs, we appreciate that the Ralston strategy wasn't so much as to making a great tasting cereal to compete with Kellogg's, Post, and General Mills, but the focus was to just get the licensing to a popular movie and or TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Ralston cereal was bad, but it just wasn't in the same league as the other top name companies.
Mm-hmm.
Much like our earlier retro entry of Cabbage Patch Kids cereal, it looked very ordinary and plain in comparison to many of the other exciting, colorful breakfast cereal options of the time. But who cares? We were crazy about any and everything surrounding Gremlins back in 1984. The trending novelty items attached to this amazing retro entry was thankfully endless.
Thankfully.
Right? We truly do appreciate that. You know, it is said that Gremlin cereal tasted like a Laurent Cap'n Crunch, but low-key flavor was irrelevant when you had an opportunity to eat something which was so incredibly in and super trendy back then.
I don't know. There's something about the whole Cap'n Crunch deal that is a little suspect to me. I think all these cereals were actually Cap'n Crunch in disguise.
I guess the joke's on us consumers, huh?
Always has been, always will be.
Yes, it was either Grape Nut cereal or Cap'n Crunch, but packaged in different ways. We got it.
Literally.
Something else that made these cereals so much more fun was the fact that there was usually a coveted cheap prize lying in wait deep down inside the box.
Yes, that's right. Practically every single box, cereal box, no matter which one, had that prize advertised on it. And you knew it was in there. That was always making it fun and exciting.
Yeah, which would make your parents mad for digging down in the cereal for it. Because you're wasting precious food everywhere as you're searching mercilessly for this.
You sound like you have a very personal experience in this.
Oh, I plead the fifth.
Badeeb. And secondly, the boxes always had some interactive game, search, puzzle, or activities contained right there.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of the packaging or box, more often than not, there was usually some contest to enter into that you could win something. So you had to send in submissions to like a P.O. box somewhere. I don't know. It was always someplace started with the M, like Minnesota or Montana, something like that.
Or was it Lincoln, Nebraska?
Oh my goodness, those were some great times.
They sure were. You know, breakfast cereal is a powerful engine of nostalgia, which is a great thing to have enjoyed currently during this week's Orchard Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say that Gen Xers definitely are a nostalgic-driven group of cereal eaters.
Yeah, I so agree with that sentiment. You know, people are serious about their cereal,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone has a favorite.
Yeah.
So, to our Orchard archivers, what were or are some of your favorite cereal choices? Can you recall in deep fondness the memories you may have had surrounding the delicious experience of enjoying your most cherished throwback choice? Please weigh in. We're so excited to hear your valuable insight on this.
Indeed, we are. The 80s was the champion decade for just about everything going back then. But it was especially so for so many of our favorite popular kids cereals.
Mm-hmm.
So many cereals have come and gone from the store shelves that most of the varieties we loved as kids are just a hazy memory, unfortunately. Unless you check maybe somewhere there's a box in your attic, or there might be one that shows up on eBay.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't recommend you eating it.
No, you might get some extra vitamins and minerals that way.
They were fortified.
And more like petrified.
Yes, eating at your own risk. But what it is exactly about these favorite retro cereals that makes us Gen Xers love them so much? The question is both an interesting and personal one. Naturally, that answer is just as unique and varied as the many choices ranked in our yummy memory files.
Whatever the spark is, it is of no secret that no matter which cereal piqued your fancy, packed with sweetness, essential vitamins and minerals, that thanks to this nostalgic experience from back in the 80s, any of these breakfast cereals was truly the breakfast of champions. And that's it for this week's episode. To make sure that you never miss out on another second of our Caramelicious podcast, meet up with us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Bye for now, and thanks so much for listening.